Hello, hello. This is Nancy with Pentart. I'm just looking down because I'm just trying to get my computer here. Oh, I think it's running. Let me know when you come on. Say hi. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. As I said, I'm Nancy with Pentart, and I'm in the United States. Let's see. Okay, so we have a little new technology here. So I'm now rotated, and so I'm just trying to get my bearings here. Make sure you can see everything okay. We are going to be doing a couple of little autumn decorations. This is my season. I'm so excited. I love fall. I'm not a summer person, so I am thrilled with already a little bit cooler weather. Okay, so pop on, say hi, so I know you're here. Is anybody out there? There's 8 people on. Everybody's quiet. It's Friday. Be happy. All right, let me show you what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing these little mini, I call them posy pockets. And it's a nice little recycling project because we're going to be using toilet paper tubes or paper towel tubes. I did not come up with this idea. I found it somewhere on Facebook. I don't remember. Here's another one that I did. I've done them with just molds or a little decoupage on the front, mold on the back, and I add some molds on the top and the bottom, and then we'll fill them with a little something. I love to put these on my tiered tray in my kitchen. Hi, Barbara from Hungary. Hello. Oh, I'm so bad with names. I'm so sorry if I say hi and I slaughter your name. Erzbet. Hello. Thank you for saying hi. Thanks for watching. So we are going to be doing this little posy pockets, I call them. And also we're going to do one of these, which is they're little peat, they're paper cups that people start their seeds in them in early in the spring, late winter. And you can get them at any kind of hardware store. So they look like this. You usually get a stack of maybe 12 to 20 of them in a stack. And we're going to turn those into little containers as well. And they look adorable on the on my tiered tray. I put them on my shelves in my family room. This idea, I want to say thank you to Vintage for Love Studio. I love her work. Gia, her name is. I think that's pronouncing it right. But I've seen she does the most beautiful containers on her page. Hello, Juliana and Gloria. Nikki, hello. Athens, wow, in Canada. Good morning in Canada. All right, so I'm going to show you start to finish how we do these little containers. And let me get this situated here. I want to turn this so you can see a little bit better. Let me move this back a little bit. How is that? That looks good. I think you can see everything. So as I said, these little containers are made from either toilet paper rolls or paper towel rolls. Just put those aside. And there's all kinds of other things. I keep mine a little bit simple, but I was playing around this morning and I was thinking before we staple the bottom, we just clinch one end of it and we staple it. You could put a tassel in there, so that way the tassel would hang down if you decided to hang it. That looks adorable. And also I found some tassels of mine. If you're going to do Christmas, wouldn't this look pretty if you just did some trim on the bottom? I like that idea too. But we're just going to keep it simple today. Those are just a couple ideas. So the first thing I do is I just measure how large I want it, and I do them all different sizes. You can do them shorter. You can do them as large as you want. Toilet paper rolls, I usually just end up keeping them the size that they are. And I staple one end. Just put a couple staples going across. And that's all you have to do there. And then if you're going to use the paper towel roll, I just measure and then just cut it straight across. And you can get 3 out of a paper towel roll. And sometimes they look cute. If you're going to put them next to each other, do a tall one and a short one. And oops, just staple the end. And the short ones are actually kind of cute too. They're fun to do. So we have that ready to go. These containers for the seeds are all ready. I don't do anything with those. I would just start painting them. You can do any color you want. I tend to stick with lighter colors, but let's look at some images here that we can use. And I pulled these out. This is a new paper from Decoupage Queen, and it's created by Old to Ooh La La for Decoupage Queen, and it's called Autumn Minis. And these are adorable to use on this kind of project. Look how cute they are. All the little fall images. And then we also have one from ITD collection with sunflowers. So I like sunflowers for the fall. And what I like about them is that you can use them in the spring too. It's almost like you can use them year round. And this is another beautiful one from Decoupage Queen called Autumn Message. And you could cut out either the pumpkins on here or use the flowers from this paper on either one of these projects. They would look great. But we are going to go with the birds and the pumpkins. Let's go a little traditional here. And what I do first is I use a little bit of water on a brush or pen and go around my image. And I think we're going to use, let's cut out a couple and see how they look for size. And that's the nice thing, is you can just tear them out. I don't like to do sharp edges. I use the water and then tear them. I love these little acorns too. They're cute. Let's try a smaller one here, pumpkin. So you just have to follow along the water line. Just be careful you don't go into your image. And by doing this, you get a nice frayed edge. So when you decoupage it onto your project, it's not a sharp edge. It really just blends right into the paint. So I'm just trimming it a little bit closer. Anybody have plans for the weekend? Anything good happening where you are? A little too early for fall festivals, I think. Now I got some of this prepped a little bit ahead of time last night because it's no fun really just watching somebody sit and paint. So here's a couple of the images ready to go. Okay, so we'll put this aside. So for this one, I already have it painted white and it's stapled. The next thing I do is I take a hole puncher and I punch 2 holes in the side because that's where you can put the ribbon or string or whatever you want. I've used wire for that you use to make jewelry. And I do the same thing for these cups too. So you're just going to go down maybe a 1/2 inch and just put a hole in it. And I put it in the wrong spot. And then just go directly across from it and do it again. Okay, it's the perfect size, easy to get to. Now you just have to be careful if you're doing a mold at the top, you don't want to cover the hole completely. I do like to cover it a little bit if I can, because then you don't have to tie as big a knot in there and the string or whatever it is won't come out. So let me show you how this one I prepared. So this is almost dry. I did it last night. It's just hard to, you can paint when clay is wet, but it's hard to wipe if you're wiping back using an antique gel or something. It's much better if you're using a dry product because it sort of takes some of the clay off. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Miriam. Is this live? Where? I'm in the United States, Gloria. I'm I'm in Pennsylvania, not far from Philadelphia, if you know where that is. So the East Coast of the United States. About a couple hours from New York, a couple hours from Washington, D.C. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's just put a little bit of white paint on this peat moss container. And so give it a minute to dry. And I'm just going to do white, but you can see it goes on sort of in a distressed way, which I like. And again, you can use any color. I do like the white for these, but I've done the toilet paper rolls in all different colors, and they come out pretty. Especially if you choose a piece of rice paper or a napkin and you want to blend it in with a color. Okay, so we'll just let this dry a minute. I'll probably put more on later so I don't have to put it on real heavy yet. Okay. But this one is ready to go. So I'm going to do a little trim. I'm using an iron orchid design mold, and I love this trim on the end. I've used a couple other ones. Here's a pretty one I wanted to show you. So it doesn't have to just be for the holidays. Isn't that pretty? And that's another IOD mold trim. And this was actually a sticker that I used. So get your mind thinking. You can use anything. Sheet music paper, labels, old labels, pictures from magazines. Now I'm using clay. It's called Jovi clay. And if you're in the United States, you can go to the royalcourtarts.com. And that's where you will find the retailers that sell Pentart. Some of them sell Decoupage Queen as well, the paper that you're seeing. But it's the royalcourtarts.com. And they sell this clay as well, too. This one usually comes out pretty easy, and I don't need to use cornstarch or anything. But that's a good trick if your clay sticks, is to just dust a little cornstarch. So lately I've been using Pentart Express glue. I love it. Not only I like it because it has the pointy tip. So when I'm doing small molds like this, just put it right down the middle. But it also dries pretty quickly. And that's nice when you're doing these projects. So I just put it in the middle and fold it over the back. And then if you don't think you're going to be seeing the back, oh, this one fits. Okay. I've had them not fit and you have to add a little bit more. I don't know why that one would fit. I thought they were all standard size. You're welcome, Gloria. Now, thanks, Miriam. Yep, I'm Nancy B Designs. I mean, Miriam, yeah. So look at that, fits right on there. And then I like to do one on the top. And of course, use whatever mold you like. But I switched to this clay. I used to use Sculpey, and I thought that was the best clay ever. And I'm really liking this Joby clay. I'm getting less cracks as it dries. Now, most of my stuff is in a vintage style, so I don't mind some cracks. And if I get a couple, I just come back when it's dry or just about dry, and I just use a little bit of glue and a little bit of clay and just fill in the cracks. So you just want to be careful. You turn it this way. You don't want to cover your hole completely, but I cover it a little bit. So that way you have room to get your string in there or whatever it is you're going to use. And of course you don't have to use any if you don't want. I just think they look cute with the string or wire. Okay, so that is ready to go. I'll put that aside to dry, and we'll go ahead with this one here. So I did put the rooster on here, which is, boy, I'm just backwards with this. So the rooster is another Iron Orchid design. And we're going to be using this mold as well because it has the acorns and the leaves. This is a great mold for the fall. Oh, I guess we need to actually, let's do, we're going to do one more on the bottom of this seed cup. I just push it in, scrape it off, it comes right out. Okay. And this glue spreads well. You don't even have to cover the whole thing because then it's a little too much. You don't want it too much squishing out. But it doesn't even need too much of the glue. So this I put around the bottom. You can put it around the top as well if you want. Now this one doesn't reach, so I do just a little bit more. And I'll show you how I push that together. Iron Orchid from Pentart. No, you just have to go on to, I don't know, where are you, Gloria, in the United States? They just have it on Etsy. They sell their molds on Etsy. So what I do is I make it and then I twist off. I measure up about how many I think I need. And I just twist it instead of cutting it because then it just sort of fits right in there. So a little bit of glue. And it just fits right in. The name of the molds, I don't know. I'm sorry. There's so many names. Sometimes I write it on the back. No, I did not. This is no, I really don't know. I'm so sorry. Oh, this one says it. This says fleur de lis. Fleur de lis on this one. The other one, this one doesn't say it. This is an older, slightly older one. But if you see them and you like them, you should get them, because especially their Christmas ones that they came out with, like last year, people are just dying to find their tree molds and their last year's Christmas. And once they're gone, they're gone. And people are actually selling them for hundreds of dollars, which, well, each his own. If you want to pay, then that's what capitalism is. So good for you. If you want it so bad, you know, I've paid for things more than than I should have. Okay, so let's pick a picture for the front of this. And we have a cute little pumpkin. I think I'll do this one because it's straight up and down and it fits well. So I use decoupage varnish and glue, the Pentart. This is the Silky Shine, but you can use whatever one you want. They all work just as well. So just a little bit, and because the edges are frayed, you'll see how it just blends right in. So I just put a little bit of the glue down and then come over the top, and the same thing in the bottom. Now, if you're in the US, oh, I guess you could see them anywhere, but we have some videos on the Royal Court Arts and Crafts on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, the Royal Court Arts and Crafts, and we have some videos there. Some are speaking and some are just showing how to do things. And on there, we're showing the Pentart products and the rice papers. Okay, so that's on there. Now this one, since it's wider, longer, I could do this on the front. Either one would work well. I think I'm just want a little bit more paint so you don't see the brown coming through. Let's just do a little bit more paint. I love, yes, they're Christmas molds this year. They are expensive, yes. I got the reindeer one. I splurged. I swore when I saw them, oh, I don't need them. And 5 minutes later, I said, yeah, I do. So I didn't get the holly one, although that one intrigues me as well. But I have the snowflakes from Prima. So I feel like I didn't need the snowflakes. I'll just give this a quick little dry. This little bit of the dryer as well. A cute idea for these, especially this cup, if it's going to sit on a shelf and you're not going to see the back, you could do 2 different seasons. So you could do fall on one side and then do Christmas on the other. If you're just going to keep it neutral, then you could just change out what's inside and you're getting 2 projects from the one. And these literally cost like, I don't know, 50 cents maybe. They're very inexpensive. Okay, so let's use think I'm going to use this one, keep it more neutral. And so take some of this bottom off. I love how she used the neutral shades in the back, but you could pull in the orange, yellowish, greenish colors and paint your cup those colors. I'm more of a traditional person for my holidays, I think. Fall is for me is the oranges and greens. As soon as the mini pumpkins come out, I am snapping them up. I love the mini pumpkins. And I just have them in my kitchen, my patio, my porch. And then I use them when I take pictures for staging. I love the mini orange pumpkins. And Christmas for me is all about the red and green. Silver and gold. But I appreciate all the other colors. I love when I see other people's houses or people have the beautiful pastel pumpkins with the flowers. And I think, oh, one year I'm going to do that. And then I think, I just stick with my routine. You have the birds and snowflakes. I love them. Which birds, Cynthia? Is it new birds, Christmas? Or is it an older bird mold? Okay, look at that. So simple. Rice paper is fabulous to use. So much easier than napkins. This one I did use a napkin on it. And, you know, again, as I said, I'm more vintage looking. So I don't mind if there's little wrinkles in there. But it's just so nice to put it on there and just, that's it. Super simple. And you can also now do the back the same. Or you can do a different, like I said, Christmas. We could do molds on the back. I made some this morning so that way they would be a little bit drier but still flexible to glue on here. So I made some last night and they dried too quickly, so I can't use those. Okay, let me just hit this with a little heat. Oh, the bird song. Yes, I do have that. That's embarrassing. Yes, I do have that one. And I love it too. They are gorgeous birds. And yeah, they can be used all year round. Beautiful at Christmas. I think I'm going to just add, let's see. Just thought, okay, this is a redesigned Prima one, and I thought I'd put just a couple little molds here on the side, and then put a little bit of green. I'm in love with this, either the chameleon pearl effect, or I've been using a couple of these. I have to do a demo on them. They're so pretty. This glamour acrylic metallic or the delicate. They look so good. And here's another one, greenish gold. I absolutely love these. Greenish gold, white gold, and antique silver. They're my new thing. Okay, so let's just do a couple of these teeny tiny little molds. I like these. I am going to dust it with a little bit of cornstarch. Let's see how. Let's see which ones work. I double wrap my clay in plastic and it lasts pretty well, but I use it so quickly. Okay, let's just try these. Gloria, a lot of the Pentart retailers carry IOD molds. They carry IOD as well as LeBlanche, which are new molds. I didn't see, I'm sorry, I missed if you're in the United States. LeBlanche molds are new to the United States, and a lot of the retailers that carry the Pentart carry the Iron Orchid design as well as the LeBlanche. So if you go to theroyalcourtarts.com and look for a retailer near you, because maybe you can see them in person, or they all ship, so you can find them there. So I think this just will add a little bit more dimension to the front. It's kind of cute. Just to add that right there. And then we could add a little bit of the pretty metallic-y green paints to jazz it up a little bit. Okay. And then on the other side, you have the rooster. So to me, roosters are spring, summer, and fall. So you can use that side for two other seasons if you like this, and then you turn it around for the rooster for the rest of the. So you got 3/4 of the year covered with with decor. Okay. Let's wrap this up. And done with all that. Okay, now here we can put some molds on the back that I have already made. A couple of leaves and acorns. These are just adorable. I also have the word fall. I did this in hot glue. What do you think? Should we do the word fall with like an acorn on either side? Or we could just do some leaves with some acorns. That's too big. Which do you like? Hello, Adoko. How are you? What do you think? Should we go with leaf and acorns? Or we could do the word fall. Just got to make sure you're starting in the back. See, if I put these on my tiered tray, you'll see the front and the back. So, I don't know. Leaves and acorns, you say. Okay. Then you win because you answered. Okay. So if we stick, how about if we put 2 leaves? Oh, I like that. Yeah. Good going, Cynthia. I like that. Sometimes I use the hobby glue as well, and that dries really quickly. I like that glue too. Here's the Pentart hobby glue, and you just use a brush with that one. It's just nice to put these things on and then they don't slide down. They really stick in place. Then that also means you don't have much time to move things around. You got to put it there. Let's move it a little bit over. Okay. Now these I did, I made them this morning. I made them about maybe 3 hours ago. So they are a little bit more dry. Now, if you do this and you only have molds on one side, they can get a little top heavy and tip over. So you just want to make sure. I've actually had to put a few rocks in the bottom of the ones I made for spring and summer. I had to put rocks in the bottom to hold them still because they just kept tipping over. Okay, we'll put a couple of these acorns. Cynthia, no, I really don't varnish this. You know, I put, you probably can. I mean, if I was going to sell, I do sell in a store. And if I was going to sell, I would, because you just want your project to last for years. Sometimes I just get a little lazy with my own things. But yes, you should always varnish, put your final coat over paint. You know, depending on if you're using a water-based product, use a water-based paint. Oil-based product, you need to use an oil-based varnish. But actually, you could use an oil-based varnish on anything, even a water-based. Okay, so then we have our molds. Okay, so for paint, I don't know, let's try a little bit of green. I have Decor chalky paint. This is Country Green. I love this color. I'm not sure if there's a comparable acrylic. Right now, we don't carry the chalky paints in the United States. I'm not quite sure if that's going to change. But let's just put a little bit in here. And use a stencil brush to just sort of pounce it on. Not even sure if, yeah, I like that. Green's my color. I love green. But see how it's neutral on the edges? You could just also use you know, sand kind of color, beige. But these little side molds I just added are pretty wet, so I'm going to just do the brush with that. Now I'm thinking ahead, and what do I want to do with the trim on the top and the bottom? I could keep it the green, or I could use an antiquing gel, one of the dark, the brown, the umber, and wipe it back. We might try that, see how that looks. because as I always say, it's just paint. And if you don't like it, you just paint over it. Paint chipping off of the mold. I've had paint chipping issues when I haven't varnished. Oh, okay. Yes, I typically do varnish, so I don't think I've ever had chipping. So I'll bring this green around the back a little. But I was thinking we would do the rooster in an antiquing gel. Let's just see what happens. And I'll show you for the acorns, I found the perfect color paint for the acorns. I think it's fun. A little bit coppery. You know how they're just like a pretty kind of brown. So I'm not putting this on perfect. I'm sort of making it a little bit aged looking, a little distressed, because that's my jam. It's so funny. I'll look at other people's things and they're a different style and I fall in love with it. I like everything. I just can't pinpoint what I think I'm more vintage, but I do like everything. French country, even contemporary. Okay, so we've got that painted. And I think we'll just do a little, maybe this is ivory. Let's see how, let's get a little bit of this and some water. It's a little thick. And take some of it off. And I'm just going to dot that on there. So it's not so flat looking. So it has dimension. Okay, so there we have that. Let's let that dry a little bit and we'll switch to this guy. And this is more of a brown neutral. I'm going to stick with that for this one. And what do we have? This is cappuccino. Let's try cappuccino. Need another stencil brush. And this is another chalky paint. There's probably very similar in the acrylics. And I do use them as well. You could certainly do this with acrylic. There's no need to that you have to use chalk paint. This has a little bit of green in it. So let's pull in a little bit of green. See, I'm just blending. As you paint, you can just see what colors you need to make it blend in. So it's a little green, a little bit of green to it. Now this I want to use a little bit darker brown. Let me just see what I have here. My colors. Yeah. I think I want a little bit. This is vintage brown. This is an acrylic. And I would like to use a darker, just a little bit darker, going on the back here. And then we'll do the leaves and the acorns different color. So the top of the acorn, I want a little bit darker. Thanks, Gloria. Do the top of the acorn this. And let's get a little bit more of this green. Actually, I think I want to get this darker green. This is khaki. Let's just do a little bit of this darker. And as I said, when you get done, you might hate the whole thing and then you decide, yeah, I think I just want to paint over it all one color. That's a great color. But I am a green girl. Okay. Just getting the edges here. Okay, I don't think we're going to get to that extra project next time. I thought this was going to be a little bit quicker. No, let's see. Good thing I have a lot of stencil brushes, huh? Let's get one more. And just do a little bit of a mottled. This one got really thick. Just a little bit of water. Okay, that's drying nicely. Now the color I said for the acorns is the Decor Metal Matte, and it's the bronze. You could also use copper or copper wax. Just stir this up. These I find you really have to stir. They separate. So you want to really stir them. I don't know whether it's the metallic in them. I mean, you're supposed to stir all your paints. I get a little lazy sometimes and think, oh, I'm just going to use a teeny tiny bit. So let's use a little brush. And for the tip of the acorn, comes out so cute. And try to do 2 coats of this. And let me just do a little bit darker of a brown on the top. It's funny, now that I'm doing an acorn, I'm realizing I don't think we get many acorns on my property. For a while there, we have lots of pine trees next door. For a while, for a couple of years, we didn't get pine cones. Now I'm finally getting pine cones again. I don't know why that was. I actually had to spend money and buy pine cones. And there's tons of pine trees. Okay, so aren't they cute? I love the color. We're going to just do a little bit of a light brush over top of the acorns, the cap, so you can see the detail in there. And we're going to do a little dry brush over those leaves of this pretty greens. How I'm going to decide which one, I don't know. I just love them. Okay, and just dry it so I can do the dry brush. It has to be dry before you do that. Okay. So dry brush, whenever I do dry brush, I use a little fan brush. And the trick to dry brushing is to take almost all the paint off. So I put the teeniest little amount and then brush it off, because you can always come back and get more. So I took almost all that paint off, and yet it's just the right amount. And this is where it gets fun, and you can spend an hour doing little projects like this when it gets to the details, because you start thinking of more and more, and you think, oh, I want a little bit more detail. I want to put a second coat. Let me do this. Let me do that. Oh, now I could use a little bit of gold. So they're so cute. A little bit of dry brush. And I would definitely do another little coat of this. Make it pop a little bit more. Oops. Okay. Then, let's see, where's my other fan brush? So I have these greens, antique silver, which does, it's silver, but it does have a little bit of green tint to it. White gold and greenish gold. Let's go with the greenish gold. And same thing, we're going to do dry brush. It's in the lid here, so we'll just get a paper towel. And you want to take a lot off and then put some highlights on there. So you get the hang of it, you want to see how much you use. So just go lightly over top, and then you can see all the dark green underneath, but you just get a little bit of shimmer. So with the bottom of the acorn has that matte metal, now you have a little bit of shimmer to go with it on there. Then, oops, I smushed the bottom of this because it's still wet. There you go. Now, let me get a wet wipe. And when I use the antiquing gels, I put it on, and then I use the wet wipes to wipe it off. You have to work pretty quickly. And I'm not sure how well this is going to work because the mold is still wet. So ideally, you want your mold to be dry. There's a little one. So let's do it over here where you can see definition. And you can also use a little bit of water. So you can just put a little bit of water in it. Let's just mix some in there. And then when you wipe it back, it will just leave it on the little indents in there. So then you just take your wet wipe. Yeah, it just doesn't work the same when it's wet. The clay takes off a little too much. Let's try with a dry. That's a little bit better. So you can see how it just sits in the indents in there. That's what you want. Let's see. Yeah, it's just hard to wipe back. The best is to let it dry. Just never quite comes out the same. And then we have this one. This one's much drier here. And we have the rooster on the back. So we can put this on there. Oh, I just thought of something. I bet that copper would have looked real pretty on him. Let's see if we can add a little bit. The copper on his tail, maybe. Let's see what happens. Bronze, I'm sorry, I'm saying copper. The bronze metal paint. Now I'll try the wet one with this because he's pretty dry. So it makes a big difference when wiping it back. All right, now that I said that, I've got to see how this looks. Let's just get that off there. Let's put a little bit of this bronze paint on him. Oh, that's so pretty. I like that. And it's very fallish. Let's put some of his feathers there and maybe on his neck and his comb. I just had my neighbor call me the other day and say, "Do you want a rooster?" I have chickens, but I do not have roosters because they just crow pretty much whenever they want. People think they only crow in the morning. No, they can crow all day and all night. And he found one wandering in the street, and I just couldn't. Not only that, roosters, chickens in general carry diseases, and I actually know people that have taken in chickens and they've lost their entire flock because they gave their diseases to their chickens. It wasn't something they'd ever been exposed to before, and killed them all. She was left with like one or two of her original, that was able to survive. So poor little guy, but I couldn't do it. And I'm just kind of muddying up the green a little bit on purpose, just to give it a little bit more color. Kind of like that. Get some down in there. All right, so who's going to try these? You got to ask all your friends to save you paper towel and toilet paper rolls. I think they're really cute for Christmas. Now, normally when you dry brush, your brush should be very, very dry. But I don't have another one, so let's just see if I use this. I'm just going to use the antique silver. Let's see what happens with that on the front of this. You can see it a little bit. Just giving it a little highlight. You could just put gold wax. Sometimes the gold wax is just too heavy, I found, and I'm kind of liking the idea of giving it a shimmer using these kind of paints rather than always the wax. Let's see how this goes down the bottom. Gives it a little shine. That's pretty. I like that. Oops. It was the wrong brush. And we'll do it a little bit up top. Just taking a little bit off. And I think that's that. So we have this one. Now I'm just going to show you how I do the string and a couple ideas on how to fill them. I'll just close some of this up because I will most likely knock everything over. Okay, so we have the string. And what I do is, you don't need too much. You could use a ribbon too. I had a ribbon, cute little plaid for fall. That would look cute in this one. But what I do is I just put a bunch of knots on the end. You could just use hot glue too if you wanted and just glue it. Make your knots, but then to be sure that it doesn't come out. Not that people are going to be walking around with them. They're really just for show to put on a shelf or wherever. So so what I like to do is I put this through the hole. So then you can see it stops in there. And then I put it through this way and just do it the length that I want. And then cut off the rest. So that's so isn't that cute? Little posy pocket. Then let me show you what I do. I have a whole container here. There's little things that I use to put inside. So I will usually take the Spanish moss. You can get that from any craft store. The dollar store carries it, I think, probably around this time. And you can put the Spanish moss in there. This is green, so it matches. And then you have little things that you can find at the thrift shops or dollar store, probably in your own stash. And I don't have my wire cutters. Those I don't know where I put. No. Okay, let's see what else. So you can put a pumpkin in there. And then you have to have something else. Maybe a couple leaves. A couple berries. You don't need the whole thing. Pick off a few. So I just grabbed 2 toilet paper rolls out of recycling. There you go. And it'll make you feel good too. You're using something that was just about to get thrown away. Because they say even though we are recycling, they don't use a lot of it. So what I like to do is make sure I find some little teeny things, some greenery. That pumpkin's a little big. That's just as big. That might be kind of cute because it hangs down. Not that I know what this thing is, but it's orange. And of course you could glue them in. Once you get this all the way you like it, definitely glue them in. Or don't glue them. Well, actually you could glue them because then the whole thing will come out. And if you did the other side Christmas, then you can put Christmassy things in there. What else do I have? One of these longer. That looks pretty. And I found these pumpkin toothpicks type things. I think I would just paint them. They're a little too orange. Yeah, it's kind of cute. One of these days I'll figure out the camera. Okay, so that's it. And you would just do the same thing. I'm just trying to keep it a little bit short. I don't want to go on too long. But you would do the same thing to that. Put your string or ribbon or wire and fill it up, and you have adorable decorations. So I hope you like that. Thank you very much for spending time and watching this. I appreciate it. And don't forget, if you're in the United States, it's royalcourtarts.com. And that's where you will find retailers all over the country to get the Pentart products. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Everybody have a great day. A great weekend. Thank you.